So it looks like these videos are going to be quite a long series because there's a lot of information that you guys really need to know. But let's really carry on with this. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I really truly do know what it means to every one of you to be a Canadian. And I'm extremely concerned because you are acting in complete contradiction to the values that we all came together to protect and to defend. It's time for you to face the truth so that you can stand on those principles defined.
£6 trillion was spent on the war on terror. Let me just wipe my eyes. As a business owner, do you know what I'm reading? Who made £6 trillion?
Follow the trail.
Follow the money. And there's a great saying in warfare, the beneficiary is usually the instigator. If I'm going to stand to benefit to the tune of £6 trillion, I'll make the cutest, fluffiest little cat. I'll turn that little cat into the biggest terrorist on the planet to justify my means. Bell Pottinger, which is a PR company, they were paid £540 million to generate negative propaganda against the Muslims.
Really?
To justify the war on terror. Everything
Newspapers.
from Saddam Hussein can attack us within 45 minutes. 540 million is chump change compared to the £6 trillion, so it's nothing.
To change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern.
Core motivations that CIA teaches us to look for in every human asset, right? And we use the moniker, the acronym RICE to describe those 4 motivations, right? R stands for reward, I stands for ideology, C stands for coercion, and E stands for ego. So you've got reward, ideology, coercion, and ego. They make the acronym RICE. These 4 are fairly obvious to understand, right? A reward is anything that makes somebody work for you, whether it's money or whether it's praise or whether it's a free cruise, whatever it might be. Right. Ideology, I for ideology, is what people believe in. C is coercion. Coercion is when you force somebody through blackmail or through guilt or through debt, whatever it might be. And then E stands for ego. And ego is the one that I find people most misunderstand. Ego is not egotistical people. Ego is about...
It's not your fault. It's not your fault that you don't know any better. The meticulous effort that lasts years and years by huge amounts of people that construct these methods and tactics to condition the population into this state of complete contradiction to the values we all care about. It can happen to even the most intelligent people. It doesn't make you stupid to be vulnerable to it. It makes you human. Under the Nazi regime, they took full control of the press so that they could put in their propaganda and convince the public that it was in the best interest and the safety for them to, well, first expel Jewish people and others, and then, of course, later on to kill them. The previous now Deputy Prime Minister of Canada, Chrystia Freeland, well, it was her grandfather who was absolutely responsible for this very thing under the Hitler regime. And she did it here too, right here in our Canada, to all of you, the moment she got in position. Many of you don't realize that she went to Harvard under a George Soros scholarship. George Soros is a known Nazi and a funder of both sides of every war in your lifetime. Make no mistake, she carried on her grandpa's work. And as you've seen, under the complete synchronicity, under COVID, with all the lies that were construed upon the public here in Canada, as you've seen, as a Nazi salute happened in our own House of Commons, we are under severe, severe threat. I don't think that most of you realize how severe it is. This is why we must quell all the rise of radicalism.
עכשיו זה קשה.
These states don't give a
כל הזמן
damn
הייתי
who
חושבת
they
על זה
harm.
מלא,
They use these young people, they condition them
אפשר
and
לצחוק עם זה.
indoctrinate them, using
כמו שאפשר
fear
לצחוק.
and threats that are
זה נהיה פשוט שם
100%
כי זה
unjustified.
חלק ממני.
And look at the damage they cause. Because eventually, you have to come to terms with what you're doing.
הייתי יוצאת הביתה,
They don't give a damn about any of us.
מתקשרת
We are
לחברה
disposable,
שלי בצבא.
all of us.
סיוון, זה לא יורד.
And it's sad
מה
how
לא
many
יורד,
young
רותם? את לא מבינה, אני מנסה כל
people's
הזמן
lives
סבון.
are ruined.
מה לא יורד, רותם? הדם מהידיים.
Disgusting.
יש לי דם על הידיים, אני לא יודעת מה לעשות.
Israel calls the Palestinians goyim or cattle or dogs or subhuman. They keep them on concentration camps. I got video of them taking Palestinian women's tomatoes they grow and breaking their water containers.
I'm going to make the suggestion for everybody out there to watch Abby Martin's documentaries or look up The Gray Zone, or just to look in to the videos directly from Palestine. They were absolutely in an open-air prison. I myself have been there. I've been through the checkpoints. I've been spat on for walking with a bunch of Christian kids in Israel. I went to Tel Aviv University for 8 months for linguistics. It's terrible. And these people are mixed. There's nobody being thrown off roofs. In fact, they're so stunned when they see somebody from the outside come. The hospitality would make you cry upon entry. These people, stripped of everything, including their water, open their arms to everyone who comes to visit in hopes for so many decades that they would tell their story.
Did you know that Canada's spy agency, CSIS, siphons $1.2 billion of Canadian taxpayer money and funnels it to Israel on one program alone? These funds are funneled to Israel through the work of the Five Eyes. The Five Eyes is an alliance between the 5 English-speaking spy agencies: United States, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and the United Kingdom. Notice that Israel is not an English-speaking country, nor a member of this alliance. Yet somehow, the Zionists within CSIS managed to funnel your money there. But what does $1.2 million mean? It is a hard number to fathom for most people. Most people don't deal with these numbers. Well, it works out to be over $3 million a day. And in another calculation, if Canada was to spread this $1.2 billion evenly between the 13 provinces and territories it has, each one would have $92 million annually to spend on infrastructure.